Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video on the best crafting mods that you can use on your Warhammer and Great Axe in New World. Now, I've seen a lot of people covering generally some good perks that you can get, what roughly they are and how you can roll them by crafting the armor, and that is true for many of these things. You get these perks on your armor or your weapons as a random chance when you craft them. As you'll see, you can put in Azoth into something, and the more Azoth you put in, you will see here if I put 60 on, you've got a very good chance to get an attribute, a gem slot, and 2 perks. So again, if I manage to put in 75 there, then you would be able to, get extra stuff there as well, and that's for the level 200 crafts, which currently I haven't got. But looking at this right here then, so when we're looking at things like a Great Axe, you can also put in things that determine the perk, and as you guys will see, some of these give stats. So you can either have Constitution, Constitution Strength, you can have Strength Dex, Strength Focus, whatever combination you want. There is a crafting mod for those attributes. Now, you can only use one crafting mod per craft, which means if, for example, I wanted a Constitution-based Great Axe because I was going to play maybe a tank, and that was going to be my secondary weapon, that's fine. And I could then put in 45 Azoth, as that's the maximum when you do actually have in a crafting mod as well, because obviously the attribute is confirmed. It does give you a very high chance of getting 2 perks, but those perks can reroll as anything. So you can either do that, or you could put, let's say I wanted Mending Execute on. I can put that on and then do 45 Azoth, and this will give me a very high chance to get an attribute, so I will get something, but it could be mixed. It could be solely one. It could be something like Focus, which maybe I don't need at all. So it's a gamble, same as, getting a random attribute is. But of course, then you do get a second chance perk, and you get an attribute and a gem slot. So it's up to you what you want to do. You can either guarantee some of these, particularly good attribute perks, which are going to be, giving you that Constitution, that Strength, whatever it is that you want, or you can indeed guarantee yourself something like Crippling Reap, Mending Execute, which is going to be the item effect, which affects the skill that you've got, so that it definitely works with the skill set and the setup that you are using with your weapon. Now, what I wanted to cover in today's video is some of the best ones that you can actually get for these, so that you guys aren't wasting your time. Now, I'm not going to go into the, the attribute-based ones, because essentially that is whatever you want it to be. If you want to focus on putting that in, that's fine. I'm also not going to be covering things like Angry Earthbane, Keenly Jagged, because these are all very, very good. Increasing crit, things like that is always amazing. But what I'm going to be focusing on is the item-specific ones that affect the skills that that weapon has. So, like you guys will see at the top here, Crippling Reap. So Crippling Reap is if the target is hit below 50% health, they are slowed, reducing their movement speed by 33% for 2 seconds, which makes this one a very, very good thing for catching players up, for locking players in place. It's particularly in PvP, but also in PvE, you can get those mobs towards you, you can kite them around a little bit easier, and using this will slow them down. You've then got Mending Execute here, which is gain 17% of your health back with a kill on Execute, which is really, really good. You've then got Fortifying Whirlwind, which is where the Whirlwind ability will provide you with a fortification bonus. You've then got Enfeebling Maelstrom, which is where targets hit by Maelstrom's no reprieve are weakened, reducing their attack damage by 14% for 4 seconds. So, as you guys can see, Reap's good for slowing them down, Fortify's decent, Mending Execute not so good, but Enfeebling Maelstrom is going to be very, very good. Reducing a target's attack damage by 14% for 4 seconds is going to be huge at being able to burn them down and make them not do a lot of damage to you. And that is just one of the main things here, but there is also some more over here. So Refreshing Charge again gives you an extra charge, not the best one, but another really, really good one for the Great Axe is actually going to be Insatiable Gravity Well here. With Insatiable Gravity Well, you gain 50% of your damage done by Gravity Well back as health, and cast another burst around you on successful hits with the Gravity Well as well. So this makes this very, very good. It does a ton of damage, heals you back, and also makes it almost a double cast, which can be very, very effective in wars. So that one is my second favourite one, alongside the one that we had up here, which was, of course, your Enfeebling Maelstrom. So if you use either of those abilities, usually people stick with Gravity Well, which is why I wanted to point that one out there. And this is going to be a really, really good ability, particularly for PvP, but also in PvE, of course, to be able to keep you with that big, big sustain. If you are going to use this in wars, it's very, very annoying for the enemies because you do bounce back up in HP, particularly if you're getting low when you dive in with the Great Axe. pop that down, run out of there with charge, you heal back up for some of that damage done, and it's really, really good amount of HP that you get back, so you can go back into the fight, make sure you're attacking players, and you can do a lot of damage very, very quickly. Next here, then, we are looking at the Warhammer. Now, the Warhammer has Refreshing Mighty Gravel, which reduces the cooldown for the amount of enemies that you hit with it. It then also has some more down here, which are going to be Empowering Armor Breaker, which is where if Armor Breaker breaks a block, the next attack within 5 seconds deals an additional 28% damage. So if you're looking to do a big, hefty amount of damage to those tanks, this is a really, really good one, or of course even bosses. You've then got Penetrating Wrecking Ball. This one is where Wrecking Ball penetrates 19% of the target's armor, which is obviously, of course, the flattening one, which is probably one of the best CC moves in the game. So this can be really, really good, again, against tanks specifically. But these both sound, or all three of these actually sound pretty good, but there's better ones to have, and I'm going to show you guys now. Sundering Shockwave. Now, this one is very, very good. So I actually have this one on the main Warhammer that I do use when I swap out to this one, and as you guys can see on screen there, it says that the Shockwave applies a rend, reducing the target's damage absorption by 16% for 10 seconds. This one, by far one of the most hands-down best abilities in the game. If you get this on and you've got Warhammer using this in the war, they're going to absolutely shred through players, because it does a big damage circle. As you guys can see on here, if we actually go into the Warhammer and look at Shockwave, you can make that it does a weaken as well by default. And then, of course, you can expand the effective range of Shockwave to a 4-meter radius. So this then paired with, of course, the ability to reduce damage absorption by 16% for 10 seconds by everyone in a 4-meter radius if you're on a point in the war or in, of course, Outpost Rush. You can imagine how crazy that actually is. So that is why this, in my opinion, is one of the absolute best abilities in the game. And if your war team is not running this, you're going completely wrong. Make sure they get this on. And if you're not running this personally, if you're using a Warhammer, please make sure you get this one on. This is an absolutely excellent ability. It will see you do a ton of damage to these players, even with just the Warhammer itself. But if you've got a switch weapon or your team's coming in, you'll see these people melt. And of course, on top of that as well, you're just going to be able to get a lot more kills as a team by this being affecting targets for 10 seconds. Is a huge period of time. So it's going to be a really, really advantageous one to have. So please make sure you're making use of it. Now, another one here that you can get on the Warhammer is actually Leeching Path of Destiny. Those of you that don't know, Path of Destiny is the 3 explosions that go in a line. This is kind of like the only ranged attack that the Warhammer has, but it is quite a significantly good one. It does a lot of CC, stuns people, staggers them for quite a while. Now, this heals you for 25% of the damage dealt by Path of Destiny when you actually use this, which again, if you're backing up in the wars, you take a lot of damage, you throw this down, 25% of that is brought back to you as HP. You can get maybe 300-400 as a minimum, but anywhere up to 500-700 HP back instantly like that with this ability, which is very, very good. And again, probably the second best or third best, because we're going to go on to another good one in just a moment here, but this is certainly a good one. If you haven't got Sundering Shockwave, that is what I'd be taking instead if you are using Path of Destiny. And finally then, last but not least here, we actually have Repulsing Clear Out. So this is going to be the reinforced Star Metal Warhammer charm here on screen that you guys can see. And this one is that Clear Out now knocks targets back an additional 141%. Which is pretty nuts. So essentially, those of you that don't know, again, Clear Out ability with the Warhammer essentially is where you swing the Warhammer and it knocks players back that are in a cone in front of you. With an additional 141% knockback on this, you can actually clear sites in the wars very, very easily. Or in Outpost Rush, of course, as well, those objectives there. And you can knock players off these very, very well with this ability. I like to try and get 2 or 3 people in my wars running this. They go into the middle, drop that Sundering Wave, drop this, knock people off the site into the backline, people who are attacking the backline, you know, the flank squad and whatever. They'll pick these players up when they are then rendered, sundered, and of course then they're knocked back as well from all these other abilities, and they can pick up the kills very, very quickly. On top of that, it actually enables you to cap the points a lot quicker, because people generally tend to bunch up on objectives. So when people do the bunch ups in the wars specifically, it will allow you to capture the points quickly as you knock 3 or 4 of their heavy tanks completely off the site with this ability, with this upgrade on, and then you can get some good capture progress on that. Even if they then try and fight back, you can wait for it to come off cooldown, do it again, and it becomes a very, very crucial perk. So I like to have a few of these on the team as well. Really, really good addition. So the Warhammer's got some seriously good perks that you can actually have on here to be able to do a lot of damage, a lot of utility in the wars, and particularly in PvP, this is where the Warhammer and the Great Axe both shine through absolutely massively. Now, of course, like I mentioned here, there is several other weapons that I haven't got onto today that also have all of these different perks that you can do. So if you guys would like me to move on to some of the other weapons, maybe some of the range weapons, the life staff, the fire staff, ice gauntlet, or maybe even the sword and shield, hatchet, all of that stuff, if you'd like to see me cover the other weapons, maybe in a full video for everything else, or break them down like I've done with these two weapons here today, then please do let me know that down below in the comments, as I'll be sure to be able to get that around to you guys very, very shortly if it's something you would be interested in. If you have enjoyed today's video, found it useful, make sure you drop a like down below, as it is much, much appreciated. And if you are new here to the channel, please do make sure that you are dropping a subscribe down below. Press the big red subscribe button with the notification bells on. I do upload every single day, so I would love to have you here as part of my channel community. Other than that, guys, as always, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. Take care and peace.